Let's talk a little Miami Hurricanes recruiting as they got it going in the trenches. A big commitment this week. Joel Ervin commits. Second commitment on that offensive line. It wasn't a true flip. He decommitted from Louisville just to commit to Miami a day or two later. So is Zuby Charles with Kane Sport. Does Miami feel like they got a steal here?
Yeah, absolutely. Joel Irvin is a guy that the Hurricanes were super, super high on. Despite his rankings, no, it's a three-star guy, but he had a lot of big-time offers from a lot of big-time programs. Georgia, Florida, Florida State were also in the mix. And, like you mentioned, not a true flip, but he visited Miami on back-to-back weekends, and that kind of solidified him wanting to be in Coral Gables. Absolutely massive prospect. We know these are the type of guys that Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal want to bring in the building. Right, spoke to his high school coach, around 6'7", 330 pounds with an 80-inch wingspan. So one thing that you can't teach is size, and Joel Irvin has that, and Miami loves his athletic ability at that size. So they're really happy with that getting, adding another massive body to that Hurricanes offensive line room for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of massive bodies, you got Jackson Cantwell on the board at the top of the board. You got Kenai Pepe. Both of them go, 6'6", 6'7" as well. How attainable, though, are Cantwell and Pepe?
I think they're both really attainable for the Hurricanes. I think they're in a great position for both of those guys. I'll start with Pepe because he just recently visited campus. He's made it clear Miami's, if not the number one team in his recruitment, second or third with USC and Texas in the mix right there. And, Pepe is a guy that Miami staff has been recruiting since he was in the eighth grade when they were at Oregon. So that connection is there. They absolutely love what he's put on tape the last 3 years at IMG Academy. I think he's one of the premier tackles in the 2026 class. And then obviously with Jackson Cantwell, Miami got him on campus for a multi-day visit not too long ago, and they're steadily chipping away with the number one prospect in the 2026 class. They've let him know, hey, you have the opportunity to come and be a day one starter for us and develop in 3 years, and then we'll ship you off to the NFL and you have your best luck there. So two guys that I think Miami's in a really good spot with right now. They have two tackles committed, but I think they're willing to take those two guys just because of how high they are on their board for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. National prospects in both those names. But what other names are there on this offensive line board that Miami fans should know?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the legacy guy, Cannon Pickett, out of Tampa Bay Tech. Obviously, a lot of connections with the Canes. He's a guy that they really like. His brother Booker Pickett's, on the team right now. His father, Booker Pickett Sr., also played at Miami. He's a guy that they absolutely love. And another guy that's a bit under the radar, but is picking up momentum on the recruiting shows, Ryan Moret, out of Southridge, 6'4", around 290, 300 pounds, state championship wrestler. And Miami really, really likes, what he can do as an interior offensive lineman. He recently made the transition from the D line, but he's a guy that's on their radar that they're really, really liking. And then those two tackles that you mentioned are kind of those big names as well too. But a ton of guys on Miami's offensive line recruiting board for sure.
All right. So Miami, it's been buzzing down there in Coral Gables on the recruiting trail really since Miami started spring practice. So we got another weekend coming up. Is it going to be a big visit weekend? And what other spring visits should Miami fans be excited about?
Yeah, so last weekend was I expect to be the biggest recruiting weekend, but this weekend is going to be kind of a little bit more of a sentimental weekend, getting less targets on, but guys that they're going to really roll the red carpet out for. And one name to watch is Jalen Lott, four-star wide receiver. Not a lot of buzz around him and the Miami Hurricanes, but speaking with those guys down there at Coral Gables, Jalen Lott is a wide receiver they like a lot, which is funny to say. And then another playmaker, Jay Lamar out of Colquitt County in Georgia. He's actually the cousin of Miami wide receiver Nye Carr. He's a four-star running back that the Hurricanes really, really love and are going to have the chance to host him. I know he's been to a few other schools this spring, but Miami's going to really try to ramp up things in that recruitment. So those are two guys that I'm really, really watching out for this weekend with a bit of a smaller, group of guys coming through. And then obviously the spring game is going to be absolutely massive in the middle of April. Miami's going to have a lot of big-time guys there. So I feel like that'll be the cherry on top of the cake, which was a busy spring down there in Coral Gables.
All right, Miami fans, jump on board. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. You can feel the momentum building down there in Coral Gables. I agree, Azubi. I think when the spring game rolls around, this is what we're kind of building up to. Going to be a huge recruiting event for the Canes. So, Miami fans, talk to us a little bit here about this offensive line recruiting. I know we trust Mario Cristobal when it comes to the trenches. How are you feeling about the way this class is, how it's shaping up? Let us know. Comment section below.